Podcast. My name is DK Diamantes, his name is Bricky, and oh my god, Warhammer 40k. But before we get into that, if you enjoyed today's episode, head over to the Patreon, patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous, where you can get access to our Discord, bloopers if they happen. You can get all those lovely HD posters at the $15 tier. So consider supporting us maybe if you like the podcast. Patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous. And yeah, the next poster might surprise you. I think Bricky is going to love it.
No way. We had a good poster in the last one, which means we must immediately balance the scales of the universe and provide me with something horrid.
The last couple have been good, I think.
In a literal sense, yes. The last two have been good.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything because I might have some insider information, but I think you're going to be a big fan.
What are those giant industrial sized fans they use at Home Depot? It's a big fan. Anyway, yes, but if you want to check, in fact, actually, if you want to check out the good posters, the ones that are tasteful, you can check them both out. The last two, which was the Moment of Peace Guardsman one and the Sister of Wrath one, both available on the merch store at orchidate.com. Also, a whole bunch of awesome new merch for the Forge King stuff. A bunch of our beautiful Soul Forge boy in hoodie, shirt, and tank top variant. And we also have the I'm a Tank in a tank top finally available as well. Check it all out. Merch store, orchidate.com. Link in the description.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Top. Hell yeah. I'm a tank top.
I'm a tank top. All right.
I'm a chameleon.
All right. I'm a chameleon.
Such a catchy song.
All right, that's a good one. All right. Well, I mean, I almost kind of want to give a quote that's like just completely unrelated to the topic, just to kind of screw with you.
It's Grey Knight, guys. It's
That's
Kaldor,
the problem, though.
Whatever. Yeah. I got it. Hooray! Look at
Hooray.
me, Mom. Look at me.
Look at him. He's done it. Look at him with his thorn replica. He's truly living the life.
Mm-hmm. I do indeed have a thorn replica. That is very true.
I am constantly making DK make horrible financial decisions, as we both have been doing for a while, in terms of making you all play Warhammer.
Yes, that's true. You're the sole reason. You're the influence that made me buy the really expensive Rogue Trader pre-order with the big statue.
You're the man now, dog. Anyway, so it is Grey Knights again. It is episode 2 of the big GK for DK.
Hey, look at you.
Also, Shai does have a very important quote. I have come to vanquish all demons and low-quality razors in this realm. Said
Grey Knights, of course.
Said by Kaldor Draigo in the TTS series. So, anywho, Grey Knights, part 2, which is one of the lesser refined episodes. Normally, we have our more focused lore-based episode, and now we're just kind of talk about all kinds of funny things Grey Knights. Some of their characters, their weapons, their armor, how they recruit, and some interesting stories about them, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I know one of them apparently lives in the warp, which I didn't know was a thing you could do as a space marine, because it's the warp, and it's not a fun place. So, yeah, kind of excited to see what sort of, BS plot-twisting nonsense GW has come up with for that one.
In fairness, you can live in the warp if you're a Chaos Space Marine.
That's true. I guess it's unusual for a loyalist Space Marine to just be, let's chill in the warp, Yeah,
unless you're Corvus Corax and yelling at Lorgar.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Primarchs, I guess, could do it. Sure.
I thought it might be kind of fun to start with the recruitment. Let's literally start from the ground up. Let's literally begin at inception.
Let's build a foundation. Build a foundation for this house.
Okay, well, God damn it. Okay,
What? That's what we're doing. You got to start off at the ground level and then build your way up, you know?
No.
You can't stack bricks on the dirt, Bricky. You should know that better than anyone, because bricks, you know?
That is a good-looking beard you have there, sir. I, too, have a beard. Have you seen my beard? It is full of tiny men. Please, kill them all.
What?
Kaldor Draigo. Excellent.
Why does he have a beard of tiny men? What?
All right. That's enough of this. So, the Grey Knight recruitment. Basically, as we all know, Grey Knights are super duper secretive, super duper space marines in the super duper world. They are taking all psychers, and since they contain the inquisitorial rosette and seal, as they are part of the Ordo Malleus, the recruitment for the Grey Knights is much worse than the regular space marines.
I'd imagine it has to be, because they're the final gift to humankind, and you can't just let anybody be one.
They have a lot of very specific attributes they require. For example, the chapter has, much like the Custodians, Eyes of the Emperor, they have something known as the Gatherers. And the Gatherers are Grey Knights who, like the Custodians, have reached such a great age or sustained such severe injuries that they can no longer work in part of the primary chapter. But they still have keen psychic minds, can go out and find a true aspirant or a hero amongst the rest of the downtrodden humanity.
Okay. So they can't fight anymore, so they just find people that can and bolster the ranks.
And there is no specific area they cannot recruit from. Like the seed worlds of other Space Marine chapters, like penal worlds, even the Sisters of Silence black ships, they're all open for the picking.
Oh, so there's no specific planet that gives, like, Space Marine tithes to them. They just pick from wherever they want. As long as you are, like, a good enough psyker and you seem like you've got the potential, you too can be a Grey Knight.
Well, I mean, you two could be a Grey Knight is a little bit, well, we'll see how far they get, but they can, so long as you're a psyker and the Grey Knights deem you a possible aspirant, they will take you.
Okay.
And then they are sent on the ships back over to Titan, moon of Saturn, and the Chamber of Trials is where they will arrive and their training will begin. If they live.
Of course. Isn't that always the catch?
So,
and I'm assuming that if they decide someone is worthy of being a Grey Knight, they kind of pull the Imperium thing where it's like, yeah, we're taking them. No, it doesn't matter if that's your only son and they're literally like your breadwinner and keeping your family. We're taking them. You don't like it? Bam!
Considering the fact that the Grey Knights are the super secretive one, I have a good feeling that they would just take your kid in the middle of the night.
Oh, true.
You would just never know.
And chances are they're so secretive that if you did hear them doing it, they would kill you anyway to keep it a secret.
I mean, there's a good chance that the Grey Knight Gatherers don't walk around showing off their Grey Knight Gatherer armor, but, yeah.
They might.
A very few choice recruits are taken back to the actual Citadel on Titan. But for the most part, many of them are released out into the random desolate plains of the moon. Now, Titan was terraformed, but its atmosphere is still very thin, horribly freezing, and for the most part, inhospitable.
Oh, lovely.
So, basically, it is not just for endurance, but also to test the mental conviction of the applicants or aspirants. When they are dropped out, some might look at the gigantic spires and citadels of black stone and say, that's a pretty good thing we should go to. Yep. Others might say, oh God, nah, I'm going to turn around and try to survive in the wilderness. And they always die.
Oh, the ones that try to survive in the wilderness, they always die.
They always die.
Yeah, well, because that's a harsh place to survive on. So.
And it's considered to be a lack of discipline. They look towards the towers and they choose else, which means they're undisciplined and willfully independent.
Yeah, I was gonna say who would be sent to Titan, look around, see that it is just nigh inhospitable and freezing, and just be like, oh look, there is some form of shelter over there. I don't know if a Blackstone pyre is shelter, but it's something, and be like, nah, let me turn around and walk through, the desert on a horse with no name. Like, who does that?
I mean, psychers, crazy ones.
Yeah, I guess. But I feel like if you were picked by, like, a Grey Knight Gatherer to potentially be in the chapter, like, you got to, surely you're made of sterner stuff than that.
Well, maybe that's the point. They are stern, but the sternness can either come from being like willingly independent and wanting to do your own thing, or due to a sense of brotherhood. Those that see themselves above will be like, I'm strong enough to go out there and deal with it myself, and they die.
I guess.
Anyway, those who are the smart ones will make their way to the gates. And then when they make their way to the gates, they're like, nice job, kid. Good job. All right, here's this bomb collar.
Oh, no.
Go back out there now. And go all the way back there, do a 1,000-kilometer trek into the tundra of caustic crystals in the chemical haze area.
Okay. All right. Very appropriate names. Okay. I can imagine what this place is like. Okay.
So you go to this chemical haze spot and you breathe in some vapors. They are given some supplies too, yes, but the bomb collar is the thing I wanted to point out the most.
They hit him with the old battle royale.
A little bit, yeah. They have to go through there, and it is actually, I gotta be honest, this place reminds me a lot of Dead Money, the DLC for Fallout New Vegas. Here's a bomb collar. Here's this weird gas that makes you go crazy and kills you. Have fun, kid.
I never played the DLCs.
Dead Money is one of those DLCs that's got an amazing story, but its gameplay is dog.
Ooh.
It's also Fallout New Vegas, so its gameplay is dog normally, but it's like even worse.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. So they've got their bomb collar, they've got a few supplies, and they're going through this really caustic area. And I'm assuming the collar doesn't do well in caustic area. Maybe could this caustic stuff like eat at the bomb collar?
Okay, hold on now. Shai says you gotta learn to let go of the shitty gameplay. I am not saying that I don't love New Vegas. I've beaten New Vegas like 10 times. I've let go of it. It's still shitty.
Damn.
You ever
speaking the truth, Shai?
You ever just played Fallout New Vegas on the Xbox 360 and watches it ran at 10 goddamn frames a second like Mass Effect 1? It is the worst. Anyway, they go out into this area, into this horrible, cold, crystalline area in which it is covered in a choking chemical dust, constant avalanches, littered with broken void ships, and roaming packs of servitors driven insane. All the way to something called a Saturnine maze. It's an ancient weapon of war left by the Emperor, filled with the nightmares and spirits of vanquished warriors. The thing is, the aspirant has like really immature psychic powers, right? Mm-hmm. And the collar on their neck is keyed to explode if they lose control of their psychic potential. And while they're inhaling a whole bunch of toxic chemicals, it like screws up their mind and makes them hallucinate and do all kinds of weird crap.
Oh, so I imagine a lot of them kind of they get the Ferris Manus treatment and lose their heads a little bit.
That which is hilarious because as they walk through this landscape, they will find thousands upon thousands of headless skeletons scattered across the landscape.
Ferris, is that you?
Fewer than 1,000, 1 in 1,000 recruits return from this area. And those that do...
That sounds about right for 40K in terms of recruitment process. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yep. Those that do await long and more solar weeks of pain. If they return and make their way over, They are content to have survived the training and can now finally be inducted into their chapter. They get the gene seed shoved in them, the psychosurgery done. They need to pass all 666 rituals of detestation. They must, of course, have the psyker part of it. And then oh God, I forgot about this part. They implant silver hexagrammatic and pentagrammic wards underneath their skin to prevent demons from contaminating them.
Ow.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a happy fun time.
Their mind is then wiped completely,
Of
as
course.
well. Any memory of their old lives need to be gone because any memory of it can be used against them by demons.
That would be considered a weakness, sure. You got to start from scratch.
In fact, all of their names are re-given. Their name becomes just a number for a bit, but then eventually when they get a true name, it's actually often a portion of a word of power or a word of banishment. There are 666 words of banishment, or that's like words of power or words of banishment. I think it's words of banishment. And these are just weird, complex syllabled words, weird, creepy stuff that just by saying them makes you go a little crazy.
Wow, okay. That's not what I would expect them to name themselves, but okay.
Sure. Well, by naming themselves, they use like portions of words of banishment. So when they call to various other, they just by calling the names of your battle brothers, it harms the demons near them.
That is kind of cool, actually.
It's like, Jim, go kill this bloodthirster. The bloodthirster's like,
Jim, no!
Not Jim!
Not Jim!
Not, if anyone, please, not Jim.
Not Jim! I'm Jim!
And his name is Jim Hakim.
Yeah.
But Jim is in there somewhere.
Jim!
Slim
Jim!
Oh, no, that's actually the full word of power.
Back. Yeah, Slim Jim is the full word, yeah.
First name Snap, middle name Jim. No, middle name Slim, last name Jim.
Yeah.
Anyway, so all of these things are all done specifically to really get the Grey Knights up and going into their chapter. Only about 1 in every 1 million aspirants will ever put on a suit of power armor.
I mean, I guess that makes sense because it's a space marine. It should be kind of a rarity, but 1 in 1 million?
They're the super space marines.
That is true. They are the super duper final gift space marines, so it should be rare that you get to become one. So yeah, I guess, but god damn, that is rare.
Yep, and that is true, only 1,000 total Grey Knights. Which is actually fewer than the Custodians, but that's because they are a single chapter of Space Marines, and chapters, unless you're the Black Templars,
you can only have 1,000, right? Because the
exactly
Horus Heresy thing.
You're only supposed to have 1,000. Granted, there's like 40,000 sub-chapters of Ultramarines, but that's what keeps you down. Unless you're the Black Templars, in which are like, yeah, we can only have 1,000 people at current standard force, unless there's a crusade going. How many crusades are you running, Black Templars? Oh, I don't know, like 900?
All of them? Is there a crusade going on? Yeah, that's us.
Yeah, the Black Templars were literally, I think, part of the group that was crusading against the Necrons in the Twice Dead King.
Go figure. Go figure.
Go figure.
Go figure. They are literal crusaders. That's their thing. That's their shtick.
So the Grey Knights have entered. Now you have become a Grey Knight. You are one of the 1,000. Congratulations.
Oh boy. You
have purity seals placed in your skin and warding in your skin. You wear like holy water infused Aegis armor, fancy anti-demon metal silver armor. You're a psyker, you know, like words of banishment and all kinds of powerful stuff. And you fight demons, like I mentioned before. You teleport in, you shout their name, Snap, Slim Jim, and then it starts losing his power, and then All kinds of shenanigans happen with your wrist-mounted Stormbolter and your flaming psychic energy.
Mm-hmm. First name Snap, middle name Intua, last name Slim Jim.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, for like, a pretty good way to describe the Grey Knights is this quote by Brother Captain Arvin Stern, which goes, "There is nothing in the arcane and blasphemous arsenal of the forces of chaos that can compare to faith. With the power of faith, our weapons become shining instruments of deliverance that can cleave the mightiest demon in twain. With the power of faith, our minds appear as slivers of pure agony to the demon, driving into the wretched forms of those who would dare stand before us. With the power of faith, our words become commands that cause the demons to cower and cringe in terror. I could meet my enemies unarmed without a shred of fear in my chest, for I know that the Emperor watches over me and guides my hand. So let them come. We shall show them what the power of faith can do."
You know, if I hadn't known what today's episode was, that would have been a great quote.
That's a very Sisters quote too.
Yeah, I would have assumed Sisters like immediately, and when you're like, nope, it's not Sisters, I would be like, oh great, and then everybody in the chat would be like, how come your memory is bad? And yeah,
probably because your memory is bad.
I mean, I'm not saying I have a top tier memory here, but you know, when you're learning something new every week, some things tend to slip through the cracks.
Yeah, well, you're stinky.
Oh wow, bravo, Ricky.
Thank you, Johnny Bravo.
Oh yeah, do the monkey.
No, whoa, mama.
Whoa, mama.
But the Grey Knights are, in terms of their major organization, they have a pretty easy to understand one, which is very nice.
Yeah.
They are broken up into 8 brotherhoods. Each brotherhood represents the nice thing of the the 8 original founders of the Grey Knights.
Oh, okay.
That's a good point.
Is there a Brotherhood of Steel? Huh? Since we were talking about
Fallout. Yep. Would you like to read the little thing Shai posted here?
Oh, here's another thing that tells you what life is as a Grey Knight. They barely use dreadnoughts and don't see it as honor because they suffer so much horrors from their training, during their service, and to their deaths. They see peace in death as reward and loyal service. Oh. So do Grey Knights just straight up not have dreadnoughts, or is it just...
No, they have dreadnoughts.
Oh.
They have dreadnoughts. Though it's not like something that they... It's not like Iron Hands where they love it. It's a rarity, but it is still there. Also, I feel like dreadnoughts are also there to appease the Mechanicus weirdos on Deimos, which is one of their like Forge worlds.
Yeah. So they'll use dreadnoughts, but they just don't use them often because it's like, oh man, I don't want to do that to my battle brother. He wouldn't want that. Let him rest.
A little bit, yeah. And they also kind of like, you know, don't inter me. My watch is over.
Yeah. So real quick on the tabletop, do Grey Knights ever roll dreadnoughts, or is that just like, oh yeah, if you're Grey Knights, you literally cannot table a dreadnought?
No, you can use a dreadnought. It's just There's only one type. It's just one type of dreadnought. The old boxy knots.
Oh, got you. Okay.
But anyway, the chapter is organized into 8 brotherhoods as well as the main headquarters. So the chapter command is done by the Supreme Grand Master of the Grey Knights, which is currently Kaldor Draigo, surprisingly. Mm-hmm. He also underneath them are 2. There is the Hall of Champions, which is 98 paladins. These are Terminator Elite. You have Grey Knight Terminators to start with, but then you have the Elite Terminators of the Grey Knights, and these are called Paladins. Mm-hmm. And then you have 12 Dreadnoughts in the Hall of Champions. So that's the most that they have. I don't think they have any more, actually. Oh, wait, no, I lied. There's actually more Dreadnoughts. There's actually a lot more Dreadnoughts.
Even though they don't like them?
They don't like them, but they're still around.
You still got to roll them, like, okay.
Each brotherhood seems to have, like, well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 3, 5, 2, 2, 1. Yeah, so, like, a few. Not many, but at least 1 to 3.
Okay.
And then you have the Chambers of Purity, which are the Purifiers and the Castellan. of the Purifiers, known as Garran Crowe, also known as Massive Giga Chad, the Man.
Okay. Garran Crowe. All right. I would expect him to be a Raven Guard, but okay.
There are of the 8 Brotherhoods, though. There's the Sword Bearers, Blades of Victory, Ward Makers, Prescient Brethren, Preservers, Rapiers, Exactors, and Silver Blades.
So those are very cool names, actually. There's not really a dorkily named faction in the bunch. You get to be cool no matter what.
I think the Blades of Victory is a little dorky, but for the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
They're all very knightly. Which kind of makes
medieval,
sense.
knightly, yeah.
But for the most part, each of these are set up in their own various important ways. Like the Sword Bearers, the First Brotherhood is a lot of vehicles, things like rhinos, storm ravens, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. The Blades of Victory are mainly vessels. That's like battle barges, strike cruisers, so on. Okay. Ward Makers are, well, I can give you a guess.
Or something?
They just might, man. They just might.
Wow. It was very subtle. I wasn't sure, but I was taking a shot in the dark, and
I'm damn proud of you.
Thanks. I've learned a lot here.
There's like the Exactors are representatives to the Inquisition. The Silver Blades command the recruits, so on and so forth.
Okay.
So I'd like to talk about the Purifiers real quick, because I like the Purifiers.
No, you're not allowed to talk about the Purifiers. I will not allow it.
Okay, then I guess we'll just talk more about the Ultramarines.
Never mind. Talk about them.
All right, Purifiers. So the Purifiers are a very special branch of the Grey Knights because, a Space Marine is really pure of mind. A Grey Knight is uber pure of mind. Yeah, but what happens if you want to be even purer?
I mean, you can be purer?
Yes, you can become the Purifier.
All right, cool.
So a Purifier is a special subsect of the Grey Knights, almost never having more than 50. Really elite and small. And they are basically clad in the same look as normal Grey Knights, but with a white helmet instead of the silver. And being a Purifier is a pretty up there honor. Mm-hmm. It's not granted through any kind of skill, like battles won or enemies killed or valor or sacrifice. You're granted this by just simply being pure of will, like unshakable. To an even larger extent than normal Grey Knights.
So it's not really something you can train for necessarily, like to become one of these Purifiers. It's just kind of like if you're inherently really strong-willed, you could maybe become one.
There are some of the highest ranking captains in the Grey Knights that are not Purifiers.
I guess you technically could train your willpower if you tried really hard, but...
Yeah,
Jeez,
but...
there's only 50 of them?
Only 50 of them.
All right.
They are entirely having these like massive amounts of forbidden knowledge. That's their whole shtick, is that they safekeep some of the most dark and demonic things in the Grey Knights halls. It's way down in the Chambers of Purity. And down there, it is entirely staffed by the Purifiers, where only the Grand Masters of the Grey Knights are allowed to enter the halls unbidden.
Damn. I bet they know some crazy secrets.
It says some Grey Knight initiates whose curiosity leads them astray return to the chambers above following a brutal beating to reinforce the lesson that the Purifiers trust not even their own battle brothers, where some secrets are concerned. And some intruders do never return at all.
Oh, shit. All right. Curiosity gets the better of you. Let me see what's in those secret vaults. And you just get murdered. And you just straight up... That's... Okay.
Hey, don't go in there.
Don't go in there. Are Purifiers... I'm assuming in combat they're quite good.
Purifiers have a thing called Cleansing Flame, which is a white hot flame that they just blow out from their bodies and murder everything with.
So they pull the old, what was it, the something row with the white phosphorus?
Oh, Spec Ops: The Line?
Spec Ops: The Line. Why did I think it was the row? But yeah, where they got the white phosphorus bomb and it just... Ugh.
I mean, that's a much more horrifying scene of that game. But sure, we'll go with that.
Well, you said it was a white hot flame. That's the first thing that came to my mind was the white phosphorus.
White phosphorus is not it's never mind. It is literally like a flame that is bright white. Like they just fire from their body. Like they literally use fire to shield their souls.
That's cool.
But the leader of the Grey Knights Purifiers is a gentleman named Castellan Garran Crowe. I believe my first ever miniature I have ever purchased in my whole life. Garran Crowe, the leader of the Purifiers.
Oh man, he must be an absolute badass. If he's leading these guys, like,
oh, he's a baller.
Yeah, he must be like.
You will remember him as the one who carries the Black Blade of Antwyr.
Oh, that's such a weird Antwyr. Like,
it might be like
that name
Antwyr.
Sounds really stupid to me. I mean, I'm sure it's a badass blade, and I'm assuming this is the one that kind of talks to him and has a demon inside of it, and yeah.
That's the one. So Crow is considered to be genuinely just a flawless soul, completely immune to the temptations of chaos in such a way that is just so outlandishly powerful that he's kind of dour and he has like no personality. He's just the guy because he can't have a personality because it'll be taken over.
That's true. If you are to be like strong of will and uncorruptible, you're kind of stuck not having a personality at all. Because you just have to constantly be stoic. Oh, damn, his mini looks great.
His mini was just recently redone. Yeah, he's very cool.
Oh, that sword looks so good.
The sword, it says, I am the power of death incarnate. I am the sword's edge. I hungrily cut the flesh and drink deep of the bloody well beneath. Give me your body and I promise you glory. I promise you vengeance and I promise you immortality if you will only let me.
What an edgelord.
Mm-hmm.
That sword shops at Hot Topic, 100%.
So this sword came to be wielded by him after it was held by a prior Castellan of the Purifier Order. Eventually, the sword was seized with desire by people around him, and eventually was used to cut the throat of the original owner of the sword. He eventually, through the efforts, Garran Crowe is able to recover the sword, and then it tries even now to find, purchase, and possess Crowe's soul, desperate for the freedom. However,
You can't do it.
Nope. So this is an eternal burden that Crowe has put upon himself. This blade is the most potent artifact the Grey Knights possess, which is probably pretty crazy to state because
they hold all the secrets.
The Shadow Keepers hold a lot too. That's the special vaults under Terra that the Custodians hold.
Oh yeah, that's true. They probably would have a lot of doomsday devices under there too. That's fair.
They might have a few worse down there, but besides them, this is their biggest one.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's considered so powerful that it might be a hell of a lot more than just a demon prince or a greater demon in the sword. It might be like the surviving fragment of an old god.
Oh,
like, we don't know, but it's insanity levels of powerful because people standing too close to the wielder are driven mad with the whispers and lies of the sword. Only Grey Knights can resist the words, but not for long. If people spend too much time near Crowe, they can feel it gnawing in their brain, and they have to separate themselves from him after a period of time.
Damn. Yeah, because I was going to say, before you said it wasn't like it wasn't that the prior leader of the Purifiers succumbed to the sword. It was just the sword made everybody around him crazy, and they slit his throat and they attacked him, and that's how Crowe had to recover the sword, because everybody else killed the dude because he went nuts because the sword, or everybody around him went nuts.
He finds himself assailed often by people trying to grab the sword out of his hands, and he's like he gets attacked more often than normal because of this sword.
The sword, yeah. Dang.
Very often, so he often has to stay like alone, and he's locked in his own chambers the whole time, because if people come by to, like, they'll talk to him for a bit maybe, but it cannot last because they can feel it gnawing at them.
It's the sword, yeah.
So he is never without the blade. And in fact, so much so that for a while he used to carry it in a scabbard on his back, or kept it sheathed and hung up in the wall of his personal chambers. Mm-hmm. And more often, the sword would just move when his back is turned, or it would slip free of its scabbard.
So he can use the full power of this sword. Like,
no.
He can't.
No, so he keeps his hand on the hilt at all times, forever, because to keep it back. But he uses the sword as simply a blade of sharpened metal.
Oh, so for him, it's just even though this sword is like one of the most powerful relics ever, he uses it like it's just a sword. Like it's just a sharp piece of steel. He doesn't have access to any of its actual like powers.
To do so would be to open himself up to the sword.
Oh man, I guess I figured that like he could use like the powers, but he's so strong of will that he like fights off any sort of like corruption attempt. So he's got this really cool sword, and he's just swinging it around like a piece of metal with it.
That's
man.
Yep, that's why he's a master swordsman, because he has to win with a piece of sharpened steel.
Wow, I guess
what a Chad, right?
Yeah, that is a pretty big Chad move. That like you have this incredible relic, and it's like, no, I don't need that.
Now, I do sometimes wonder if the sword actually will use its own power, like a gone from Crowe, because sometimes he'll be fighting off enemies, and then the Black Blade, because the Black Blade is talking to him at all times.
Constantly, yeah. It's always whispering in his head.
Yeah, and in fact, he records what the sword says to hopefully glean some kind of, because it's often lies, but sometimes in the battlefield, the sword will, like, for example, there was a fight on something known as the Black Planet. And from there is a demon of Khorne known as Skull Taker, which as soon as seeing it, oh yeah, it's obvious, right?
For a Khorne demon.
But the sword saw Skull Taker and immediately started going haywire.
Oh.
Well, because I guess it's a long rival of the Black Blade. And so it was like, kill him, use my power, come on, I'm going to murder him.
Use it, let me go.
And so sometimes, despite there being so many lies spoken by the sword, there are some truths said by it, because it really wants, because it's like, okay, well, you're using the sword to kill my friends, but you're also killing like my rivals.
Yeah.
So
is that
awesome.
a picture of Skull Taker that Shai just posted?
Yeah, he's like a fancy bloodthirster.
Oh, he's cool. I like him.
Yeah, he takes skulls.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what Khorne would want him to do.
But after his battle with Skull Taker, he sent him back into the warp, and then he vanished with the mocking laughter of the blade in his mind. Just like ha ha. Well, what's his name in Simpsons? Ha ha.
I forget what his name is.
That's entirely how I view it.
Yeah, Nelson. Thank you, Shai.
Thank you. But yeah, that's Crowe. He's kind of a Giga Chad.
So when Crowe takes the battlefield, is he more often than not just on his own, just his own little strike force? Because he can't be near the other troops.
He normally runs with his Purifiers, which are far more pure of mind.
That is true, yeah.
But for him, it's more just like you can't. I mean, let's be honest right now. The Grey Knights aren't fighting with the guard anytime soon, because if he like walked his ass into a regiment of guardsmen, they would all just like start trying to maul him. Like, give me the sword, give me the sword, give me the sword.
Yeah, well, that's true. I guess I didn't realize, or I didn't put two and two together. It's like, oh yeah, they're purifiers. There's only 50 of them because they're so pure of mind that they would be able to. Yeah.
Yeah, still none are as powerful enough to hold off the sword, except for him. But, they can fight with him for a bit.
Yeah. It's not like he has to be on his own like a little siege tank.
Right. So other than that, there is a couple other interesting parts of the Grey Knights. I mean, I could spend a whole damn episode talking about their psychic powers. One of them is literally opening up a rift into the warp, which is insane.
Wow, okay.
Just
That's
like it's called Vortex of Doom. They just like cut a little line of the fabric of reality into their enemies, and then like a bunch of demons just grab them and pull them in.
Oh man, I would love to see that animated somehow, because that'd be like a really cool like CG effect. And
oh, speaking of getting pulled in,
okay.
Let's talk about Supreme Grand Master Kaldor Draigo.
All right. I hear he's a bit of a Gary Stew. I hear he is,
So Draigo is the issue of a bit of... When the Grey Knights came out in like 5th edition, 4th edition, way back when, something like around there... they were the brand new kid on the block before Custodians were a faction, like a playable faction. Oh, and they were the, it's a bit, I mean, Custodians were around, they just weren't playable. Mm-hmm. They were kind of the whole like, ooh, you like Space Marines? What if I gave you Spacer Marines?
Spacier Marines.
Super space. And it's like, they're so cool that none of them can be corrupted. And they're all psychers. And they're super secretive. And it's like, it kind of felt like schoolyard writing,
Yeah.
Like the,
like power creep heavy. And
like, I'm playing as Iron Man. Well, I have an anti-Iron Man force field. Kind of that stuff.
I have an anti-Iron Man field gun. Yeah.
Which like is basically what Warhammer is in general. But, Draigo is a little bit better now. I kind of like Draigo a bit more after reading the Pandarax book with him and Azrael fighting. Mm-hmm. But he definitely his roots are based in a bit of like Space Marine jerking themselves off kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So he is the Supreme Grand Master of the Grey Knights currently. And his story began in a demon incursion of a world called Acrolem, like year 40,799.
Okay.
He fought a demon prince known as Makar the Reborn, and he killed him. And as it died, it's told him, "Victory is yours this day, mortal. But know if you ever set foot upon this world again, you and all who follow you shall walk with damnation for 10 millennia."
Wow.
Now,
it's quite the prophecy.
After this, Draigo was promoted to Justicar, which is like sergeant, and became slowly, over the next 200 years, elevated more and more with his honors. The only person with a higher honor than him was probably Janus, the original Thousand Sons guy that became the first ever Grey Knight Supreme Master.
Oh, okay. So pretty heralded. Cool.
Hold on, Shai. Let me explain the lore first, and then I'll take your TLDR.
Okay. I'm assuming it is a long list. If it's Kaldor, it's probably a purity seal.
Draigo's shit is, yeah. Anyway, 200 years later, he eventually okay. I'm assuming the Mortarion thing is in your list, isn't it, Shai?
Surely.
Oh yeah, I thought so. Okay, we'll skip that part now, and we'll return to that. So 200.
We'll get there.
All right. So 200 years later, there was another distress beacon back at the same planet that was invaded by the demons once again. And upon learning about this, he knew that Makar, the demon prince, had been reborn from being sent to the warp, and he was here to lay the curse upon his prey or whatever. Mm-hmm. So
I'm assuming
Draigo
that's why it's called the Reborn is because he keeps getting reborn and you can't really kill him.
Well, that's what demons are anyway.
Oh, so why is this guy called the Reborn?
I don't know, because he was reborn in blood or something. Some classic demon shit.
Okay.
It's demon stuff.
Demon stuff. Who cares? He's back. Prophecy's fulfilled. Oh, man, I gotta go get him, even if it means 10,000 years of damnation.
So he forbid, whatever, all of his other Grey Knights from coming with him. He went there alone and helped a ton. He helped firing psychic power to burn away the rotting plague zombies of Nurgle. He helped hold back the demonic horde from the 912th Regiment of the Cadian shock troops. He fought against with guardsmen to help defeat his demonic foes, yada, yada, yada. And at the end of the edge of the warp rifts, the two of them fought once again. And using a broken blade, he stabbed the demon directly in his heart, sending him back into the warp. Before the demon was fully banished, he wrapped his talons around Draigo and pulled him in with him.
Ooh, that sucks for you, buddy.
And somehow, Draigo did not die, but instead, he walks around in the warp. So hardened is his mind from the deductions of the problems of chaos that he started moving around the warp and beating the ass of the demons there. Shai, would you like to post all the things that Kaldor Draigo has done?
So he lands the final blow. This thing's getting pulled back into the warp, pulls him in with, and now he's just kind of, I'm walking on sun, while he's just mowing down every demon in the warp.
All right, Draigo's achievements. 1, killing a demon prince in his first ever combat action, which was the MCAR guy.
Okay.
2, banishing demon Primarch Mortarion back to the warp while carving the name of his previous Supreme Grand Master into the heart of Mortarion.
What?
Single-handedly holding off a demon horde for 2 days in real space, killing the demon prince again with the broken sword.
Yeah.
Killing one of Khorne's strongest bloodthirsters with little to no weaponry.
Okay.
Taking said bloodthirster's axe and reforging it into a sword for his own personal use with his mind. May I remind you that he is doing this while he is currently in the warp.
Okay.
Slaying 6 of Slaanesh's chosen demonettes, setting fire to Nurgle's garden, walking into the city of Tzeentch and smashing it to rubble.
Oh, okay.
Slaying a large number of demons while being trapped in the warp. Traveling to another universe, Warhammer Fantasy, not a joke, and attempted to save it from destruction. And his failure to stop Warhammer Fantasy's universe from being destroyed and replaced with Sigmar is one of his major L's to his day.
Okay.
He can be summoned by chaos cultists unwillingly instead of a demon, and then appearing and killing them all and then leaving back to the warp.
I like that last one where they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna summon this cool demon, and Kaldor Draigo just shows up and just bitch. And
Draigo walks the warp's path now, and demons ignore him because he's such a force of will that only the craziest of Khorne will even fight him. They just leave him alone, but he can't leave the warp. He's trapped in there, and so he'll occasionally just be randomly spit out into places he's needed, such as Warhammer Fantasy in the past.
I don't know if this is gonna be a hot take or not, but after reading all this, I kind of don't like Kaldor.
That's an extremely cold take. That is the coldest take you have ever said.
Oh, really? Okay, because I was worried because I wasn't sure how many people really liked Kaldor Draigo or not. But all this stuff just sounds so, like... it is very Gary Stu, and it's very just like, oh, look how strong I am. I made a sword with my mind after doing Bloodthirster and after 1v1ing Mortarion and doing what Primarchs can't do. And it just... all of it just seems... it almost seems more annoying than anything. It doesn't make me like him. It makes me kind of want to see him just get absolutely kicked off his pedestal. So
remember, we had a stream a bit ago where someone was mentioning one of the characters in one of the recent Siege of Terra books, some like super powerful psyker lady that helped the Emperor and Malcador and stuff. I don't remember her name. But in the book, she held off like 4 greater demons by herself or something, and we all were like, that sounds stupid.
Yeah.
I feel like the people who really like Draigo are one of 2 kinds of people.
Fans.
Well, actually, three types of people. One would be people who just really like Grey Knights. They just like Grey Knights a lot. That's just their favorite faction. You know, they like Grey Knights.
Oh, that's fair.
2, people who just really like this level of jerking themselves off. Who are like, God, he's so powerful and so cool. Look how awesome he is as he's walking in chaos and then shitting on the lawn of corn and then setting it aflame.
They really love that self-gratification, yeah.
Or people who kind of think it's funny. It's like, yeah, I love Kaldor Draigo. His lore is so ridiculous. It's just kind of hilarious to see, like, what's he gonna do next? Like, you could play it as a comedy.
Right, kind of like Sly Marlboro fans. Where it's just, it's one big stupid meme.
Sly what now?
Sly... whatever the hell his name is.
Sly mauled, bro.
Yeah, he makes me mauled, bro. All those...
Marbo.
Oh, I said the cigarette. I was thinking he was like Sly Marlboro Man, you know?
So in Emperor Text-to-Speech, he is memed on a lot by making him still as insanely powerful, but making him turn into a complete jabbering idiot.
Because he's been in the warp too long.
Yeah.
Okay. Well done, TTS.
He's just really, really wacky and weird.
I like the idea that too much warp exposure has made him just a little crazy.
He is a very wacky, weird. So much like people have, like, no one gave a shit about Katos Icarius in the Ultramarines. He's got Ultra Depression now, and it's kind of funny, but Katos Icarius has this total meme thing on text-to-speech, and now people kind of give a shit.
Okay.
For Draigo, it is not. It is now people like him as kind of the joking manner because of TTS, which I'm sure makes the people who really wank him off very upset.
Oh man, I bet it pisses them off so much.
But Draigo is a model I do own. I do kind of like him from a gameplay point of view. He's kind of cool.
Is he good on the tabletop? I'm assuming he's got to be absolutely rock star on the tabletop for the Grey Knights.
He is very good. He is very, very good.
Yeah.
He's always been pretty nasty, honestly. He's just quite the powerful weapon.
I mean, if that's his in-game lore and that's all, or not in-game, if that's his lore in 40K, his mini has to kind of be like that. Like, you can't give him this laundry list of insane achievements and have him be able to withstand the warp and have demons ignore him and then be like, yeah, his mini sucks.
No,
you can't do it.
He's incredibly good. He has all kinds of power. He's very, very strong. He's Draigo. It works out.
Yeah,
but
I don't like him.
I'm not a huge fan of him either. I actually have kind of gone full circle though. When I was like 7 or 18 years old, I was like, "Oh wow, he's so cool and stuff." And then I kind of grew up.
I was gonna say you were still maturing. You know, you hit 18, and everybody has that phase. You know, I get it.
And then I kind of went more onto the guardsman world, where I kind of preferred the exact opposite of Draigo, the regular guy. And now I'm kind of back to the look, he's so funny. Look at him. He's so silly.
See, now you appreciate him not because he's like super strong, but it's like, this is stupid. You know, you're that's okay.
And also his Pandarax book I read. He actually kind of got he struggled a bit in the book,
Wow,
which
that
was
must have been
nice.
new for him.
Yeah, it certainly wrote him as a little bit more normal, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, it's kind of like how I've sort of come around on the Ultramarines and don't super hate them now that they're kind of being written a little more like, hey, look, they're not unstoppable Gary Stu maniacs that just always succeed.
Right, exactly. It helps out a little bit.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I must admit, there's actually quite a bit more Grey Knights stuff that I would like to talk about, but we are really going through the time right now.
Are we going to have to do a third Grey Knights episode?
There are two, actually, if anything, there's one story that is really good called The Months of Shame that I actually really wanted to do. It's a great Grey Knights in the Inquisition versus the Space Wolves.
Ooh, really?
Though I must admit, it's actually a bit more of a baller story for the Space Wolves than it is the Grey Knights. And I might save it for the Space Wolves episode when it's time for the Space Wolves.
Yeah. Wait, the Space Wolves fight the Grey Knights? Wait.
Yep. It's a very interesting story. I actually think it's quite cool. But I think I'm going to save it for the Space Wolves episode because I think it paints them in a better light.
I was like, did he mean the Luna Wolves? Like, as they were about to turn traitor? Why are there two loyalists fighting each other?
Dude, you got a good point. The loyalist factions of 40K would never fight each other. That would be crazy.
Oh, yeah, that's insane. That never happens. They never disagree on anything.
I couldn't imagine such a thought.
I'm gonna bomb the planet, Gillum, and you can't stop me.
You must puff pass, Lion. This is the behavior that got the Sanguinius killed. And you calling Ultra Boofs mid? Okay, there is actually... We actually might need to do another Grey Knights episode. There's actually a lot more to talk about. There's the Prognosticars, which are a really fun topic as well. There's still also Revuel Arvida, the origin of Janus that we have to do. There's also the thing called the Terminus Decree, which is a crazy thing. We might really need to have a whole new thing going on.
Honestly, I would not mind another episode on the Grey Knights. So far, they've been pretty interesting.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't mind. If you want to do a third one, let's do it.
Hell yeah. It won't be next episode. We'll probably do a few other things before we do more Grey Knights.
Yeah, we'll come back around to Grey Knights, yeah.
Yeah, but it should be pretty good.
Okay, cool. Cool.
All right. Well, in that case, I guess we'll call it right now. We'll end it for the time being. You learned about Crowe, you learned about Draigo, you learned about the recruitment and just like the creations of the Brotherhoods.
Oh no, it's bad. As soon as you said Kaldor Draigo, I had like the Ultramarine instinct to immediately start booing him.
I mean,
that's. Oof.
I mean, based.
You're like you learned about Kaldor. Boo! Yeah.
I mean, capital.
Based.
I mean, capital B based.
Big dubs, boss man. This dub is so big.
Oh man, I love the boss man guy. He's so
boss
fun.
Man guy is great. I love that too.
In awe at the size of this dub.
Love it.
Had to put my phone down to learn about this dub.
Yes. Hello. Shy said this is gibberish, and it's like, well. Duh.
Oh, this is gibberish, Shy?
Hello? This is all we do.
All right, goddammit.
This podcast is based on gibberish. What are you talking about?
All right, fine, Shy. Here, we'll end it with this. Crap, wrong one.